Today I want to share a story with you that shocked me more than I can even put into words. On November 13th, 2022, something so horrific happened in Moscow, Idaho, that it left the entire community in disbelief. For university students full of dreams, laughter, and love were brutally murdered in their own home. When I first read about this case, I had to stop and ask myself, how on earth could this happen? Why them? Why that night? And the more I dug into it, the more haunting it became. Welcome to Life in Frames. Let's start with the town itself. Moscow, Idaho. A small college town, peaceful, quiet, even considered one of the safest places to live. Can you imagine? People there were so trusting, they often didn't lock their doors at night. And that's what makes this crime so disturbing. It happened in a place where no one expected it. A town that had almost no history of violent crime suddenly became the center of one of the most terrifying cases America has ever seen. The victims were Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. They lived in an off-campus rental home. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically a private house students rent to live together outside of university dorms. That house had 6 residents in total. On the night of the murders, 4 were killed and 2 survived. To me, that's one of the most chilling mysteries. Why only 4? Why did the killer leave 2 alive? Was he startled? Did he lose his nerve? Or was it part of some twisted plan? Even now, that question gives me goosebumps. Let me pause here and talk about the victims as people, not just names. Kaylee and Maddie, best friends since childhood, both seniors in marketing. Always together, laughing, dreaming big. Xana, beautiful, strong, also studying marketing. Ethan, Xana's boyfriend, just a freshman, studying sports and tourism management. He was known as funny and kind, the type of guy you instantly felt comfortable with. These weren't just students, they were sons, daughters, best friends, siblings. And in one night, their bright futures were cut short. And this is the part that breaks me the most. The attack was brutal. Investigators believe the killer entered through a sliding glass door. And here's where I can't help but reflect such. A small detail, a door left unlocked, changed everything. That house was known as a party spot, where people came and went often, and no one thought twice about security. But that night, it opened the door for a killer. Now, as the investigation unfolded, something else equally shocking happened. Not from the killer, but from society. Internet sleuths, TikTok investigators, and so-called true crime enthusiasts jumped in. Instead of helping, many of them made life unbearable for the victims' families and friends. Rumors spread like wildfire. The surviving roommates, who were already traumatized, were attacked online with baseless accusations, even though the police had already cleared them. Imagine surviving something so horrifying and then being blamed for it by strangers looking for views. It's cruel. It makes me wonder, do we, as a society, value clicks more than compassion? One moment that went viral came from a food truck live stream in town. 2 of the victims were captured on that feed, buying food late at night, just hours before they died. Behind them stood a man in a white baseball cap. Immediately, internet detectives labeled him suspicious. Theories spread like wildfire. But once again, the police investigated and cleared him. He was just a guy ordering food. Still, his life was dragged into chaos because of internet gossip. And here's the reality: while the online noise grew louder, the real investigators kept working quietly, methodically. They combed through digital evidence, surveillance cameras, and cell phone data. The turning point came when DNA from a knife sheath was found at the crime scene. Using advanced genealogy, they traced it back to Bryan Kohberger, criminology PhD student at Washington State University, just a short drive away. And this, honestly, is where the case becomes even more chilling. Kohberger wasn't just any student. He was studying criminology, was learning about how criminals think, how crimes are solved, how investigators work. And yet, he used that knowledge not to prevent crime, but to commit one. Isn't that terrifying? The irony is so dark, it feels like something out of a movie, except it was painfully real. Surveillance showed his car, a white Hyundai Elantra, circling the victim's house multiple times on the night of the murders. His phone records had suspicious gap times when it was switched off, likely to avoid detection. And when investigators checked trash at his family's home in Pennsylvania, they found DNA that matched the crime scene. The evidence against him was overwhelming. Bryan Kohberger was arrested in December 2022. Over time, prosecutors revealed that he had possibly stalked the victims, studied their routines, and even purchased the murder weapon online. And in 2025, he pled guilty to avoid the death penalty, receiving multiple life sentences without parole. But even with his sentencing, the haunting question remains. Why? Why these four? Why not the others? Why commit such a brutal crime when his future was so promising on paper? Sometimes evil has no logic, and maybe that's the scariest part of all. The house where it happened was demolished. In its place, a healing garden now stands, a space for reflection, remembrance, and healing. The university awarded posthumous degrees and created scholarships in the victims' names. Life has moved forward, but for the families, the pain never truly goes away. And as I reflect on this case, I can't help but think about two things. First, how fragile our sense of safety really is. Moscow was considered one of the safest towns, until it wasn't. Second, how the internet reacts to tragedy. Do we really help victims by speculating and pointing fingers, or do we only add to their suffering? Now, I want to hear from you. Why do you think the killer left two roommates alive? And what do you think about the role of online investigators? In this case, were they helping, or did they just make things worse? Share your thoughts in the comments. These stories take so much time and effort to research and tell, but I believe they matter because they remind us of life's fragility and the importance of compassion. If you want to hear more true crime stories like this, check out the other videos on this channel. Don't forget to subscribe, leave your comment, and let me know what you think.